Whew, okay. I fully forgot to announce this live stream. Here we go. Hey Majora, welcome. Quick on the arrival, as always. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Minecraft Realms, no. Hey, Card. Do I need anything from Dollar General? I would really like one of those. I really need one of the romance novels that no one's ever read that they have there for like $3. Could you get me one of those? Any is fine. Just, you know, the section, it's like the little rack full of romance novels that are like a few bucks each. And they all have horrible covers, and they all were written by like some lady like Janet Anderson or something. Give me one of Janet Anderson's books. Tower just burned the second time. Tower? I'm not familiar with your tower utils. I can take a look if you'd like. Boy, these bees have been hard at work, and it looks like every hive has at least a couple bees in it. Every hive has produced some honey. That's helpful. Oh, what's up, Malachus? Ah, Iron Farm. Well, that's helpful. It's time to play Deltarune. Is this from you, Majora? This feels like a Majora present. Trying to get me to play Deltarune. It might be time for a new game. I could be convinced to play Undertale. Honestly, I also really want to play Silksong. You and Pugmaster are cleaning your room. That's good. Yeah, that's a good plan. Good reset. A clean ship, you know, they say a clean ship is a happy ship. And a ship that is happy is sentient. And an object that shouldn't be sentient but is a crime against nature. And crimes against nature need to be destroyed. Oh, Majora bred some extra. Thank you, Majora. They're popping off, dude. I think we've reached a great target bee population. Did I finish the melon mystery? Not yet. Not yet. The melon mystery will continue, I'm told. An insider has told me that the melon mystery will continue soon. Okay, so put some of these flowers back. Let's have one chest just be for flowers. And this other chest will be for harvesting when the time comes. When the time comes that I'm not just instantly using... Oh, there's a bee in the house. Not sure how you got in, but I'll leave the door open for you and maybe give you a little push. Add a bee. That's great, Cart. You gotta know. You gotta know when you hit the point of... you gotta know when it's clean time. For sure. So now what's on the agenda is basically... to adjust the okay, so that's brand spanking new. Adjust the level of oxidation across the whole. Can I spare the parts for an etho hopper clock? Probably. You're welcome to come into my chests and grab stuff. I don't have a part list for that off the top of my head. Majora is in a cleaning prison. What does that mean, buddy? For the most part, I think I want to keep stuff. More on the blue, more on the fully oxidized end of the spectrum. But definitely some variety, I think, is good for making the house look very lived in and real. And so for these, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do kind of a classic. Yeah. Bump, 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 bump. Rivet ASMR. Yeah, I mean, just doing what I can here, you know? Do I take it back all the way here? That too much? That might be too much. Yeah, it sticks out a lot when you take it back all the way, and I don't like it. I'll wait for that one to oxidize a little bit. I didn't wax that one. But I do think in areas like this, I think I do kind of want to take it back all the way. Or do I? Or do I? I don't think that actually looks that good. Yeah, change my mind. Oh, they don't sell it. Oh man. What about like the cheapest the cheapest production direct to DVD film that you could possibly imagine? Do they have any of those? Or have those also gone the way of the dodo? Are we looking at a completely dying breed? Oh, nice. Yeah, the books are usually with those DVDs. Hey, Coco. Okay, so now we need to make the... We need to make the orb. We need to make the top orb of this place. Hold off on sleeping? I can do that. Christmas Eve Cowboy by Diane Palmer. Yes, thank you. Please send a picture of the cover in the Discord for everyone. If it's not too salacious. I think rather than doing a ball, maybe if this had more of a bulb shape. You know what I mean? I think I've got to build it at least partially out of copper. But I don't want to. Do I know the Berlin Tower? I can't really picture it in my mind. So no, I guess. Oh, but I've got a ton of, I forgot I have so much cut copper. I can just make it out of cut copper. Yeah, that'll be fine. So let's figure out this shape here. Might have to do some stuff with stairs. Go look at circles. Look at Minecraft circles. So this would be, assume this, this is going to be the furthest out point. How far are we from? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. 10 block diameter circle. But first, let's look at the cover. Back to the Future, the animated series. I have that. I have that show. It's very unusual. Christmas Eve Cowboy by Diane Palmer. Look at him. New York Times best-selling author Diane Palmer. He's all the hero you'll ever need. The Christmas Eve Cowboy. This book was written by 3 people. This was also written by Kate Pierce and Dolores Fawson. Wow. Look how high up he is. Look at the background versus the edge of the porch. Here, wait, hold on. Getting a little fancy. Getting a little fancy today. Look at that. Take that in, everybody. I'm trying to suss out. I think this is a real photo of a man holding Christmas gifts. You think this is a stock photo? This has got to be a stock photo, right? Handsome man in a cowboy hat with Christmas gifts. And then I think everything else is like layered and photoshopped. I think the dog is photoshopped. I think this like porch thing is photoshopped. This is just like a picture of a snowy mountain in the back. Wow, and what a horrible, just like this wall of text on the cover. For $3, dude. I knew it. I knew it was going to be $3. All right, back in business. Back to the task at hand. Back to the Future, the animated series, season 2 on DVD is a great find. That's genuinely a great find. Sphere, ellipsoid, torus, observatory. Ten block in diameter sphere. Not that impressive. All right, I'm just gonna make up this shape, I think. I'm just gonna make up this shape as I go. Might have to do some of the main sculpt on Zinky Poo. But let's just mirror it. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1. 1. Have I done that right? Yeah, okay. 2. Building an F5 is so hard. All right, and then up. And then up. I think that's symmetrical. Why do I like copper? To be honest, I don't really particularly like it as a block. I think it's kind of a nice color, but for this build, it's just the right thing. It just feels right for this tower that I'm making, that I'm working on, you know? I am a big fan of the fact that it's like an oxidizing block that weathers. I think that's neato. But yeah, it's not like my favorite block or anything. It's just the right tool for the job, you know? All right, Zinky Poo. It's me, your dad. I gotta take you on a little adventure, buddy. A little building adventure. Come to your papa. That's a good boy. Look at that, good boy. Oh, now that I'm looking at it, it already looks too big. Yeah, that's way too big. Is it? Yes, it is. I feel like this is it should be the furthest out it can possibly go. And it's too tall. Just for the sake of seeing things every way that I can. I'll start simple. It might even need to go in one more block. It might not even be able to go out past that. But no, that's not too bad. And then I think I also want to knock off these corners, and maybe they'll get replaced with stairs. Right, but that helps thin it up a little. But I don't know that I don't think that taper is actually that good. Pick up this block. What? Excuse me? I think something more like that. Getting better. It's still way too tall. I'm well aware of that. I'm just trying to oh, weird lag issues going on. It doesn't usually happen. Don't worry, Yiddles. I'm not immediately going to attribute that to the iron farm. That could be anything. So now that I'm looking at it, I think that maybe at this scale, it does just kind of have to be a bulb type shape, because it just feels like too... Yeah. Let's just go full ball shape here. So we're gonna go with that. See how that feels. God, the happy gas is such, dude, I cannot imagine doing this without the happy gas. I just would have given up on it. I just would have like done something and been like, yeah, whatever. Because I would have had to like get all the way off this and go stand over there to actually see what I'm doing. The Eye of Sauron? Maybe a little. That's closer, but it's still a little too... I can't tell if it's too big or if it's just taller than it is wide, and if that's what's bothering me about it. But isn't that a problem at all? Because you're basically always, even when you're on the mountaintop, you're always looking at it from low. I think that does bother me about it. What if we just kick it in like this? Put a gem in it? It'll have a middle. It'll be 3D and it'll have a middle, but I'm just sussing out the profile right now. I don't hate that, actually. Don't hate that. What happens if I do this? If I match it on top? Huh. Kind of liking that. I think especially if I smooth it out with stairs. I'm going to smooth it out with, I'm going to grab some stairs and see if I can smooth it out now. Oop. I think maybe this, yeah, just do stairs kind of wherever I can to help it feel a little bit more elegant, a little lighter. Yeah, look at that. And then I guess I shouldn't have gotten rid of this block because I'm going to need to do the bottom stair as well. A little upside down action. Wish there was like an item magnet. Just pick it up. Just pick it up. It's expensive. Shape of this damn roof. All right, Zinky Poo. I'm going to try to do this real fast. I can kind of just stay on him. Nope. He's gone, dude. I know, I just gotta hold a snowball, but geez. Well, yeah, probably time to grab some more honey at least. Bye, Majora. Thanks for stopping by, pal. Appreciate you. There's Zinky Poo chilling right where I need him to be, and then I'm sure by the time I go up, he's gonna be gone. Come here, bud. Yes. Now I've got to give it 3-dimensionality. Sleep, please? I can't. It's up to you, Yiddles. Honestly, it might just be this simple at this point. Yeah, I think it has to. Has to be like that. Pretty much. Now it's not actually going to be made of this much cut copper. But since I have this here, have I seen K-pop Demon Hunters? No, but I've seen you listening to the soundtrack through Discord. Good flick, good movie. Saw it was by the same team that did the Sony Spider-Verse movies. Same animators. Yeah, I'll just get the shape mapped out here. How long does it take to get a happy gas rehydrated? Like 3 or I think it takes 3 in-game days to rehydrate them, and then it maybe takes another 3 for them to grow, something like that. It's not that long, and you can feed them snowballs once they hatch to like accelerate the process. I might be mistaken about some aspect of it, but I think that's what I remember. Hey, what's up, AnproCube? Still with the bee? Well, you know, not quite. Still with the bees, not actively working on the bee stuff, though. The bees are happening. The bees are done, pretty much. Yeah. I might have to go up another layer with the rings now that I'm seeing this done. I think one more layer of rings would be helpful. And maybe the last layer is just the trapdoors. Are we? Oh, look at that. Look at that, I found a mistake. Thought that was looking a little funny. There. But again, it's important to remember the highest that anyone could possibly really view it from, based on the surrounding area, is this. So yeah, no, it still looks a little bit like, it still looks a little weird having such a big gap at the top. It seems like it should just flow right in to the bulb. What I'm calling the bulb. But it's, yeah, but most of the time the roof is not going to look like that. It's going to look like this. Oh look, dude, another mistake, another goof. Who's out here goofing? Goofing on the roof. What a schmuck. All right. So now I think I'm going to do this from the outside. I'm going to replace a lot of what is basically every block that doesn't need to be wax cut copper for the most part. I'm going to replace with glass. However, I'm going to wax this copper bulb. However, it's not going to be orange. It's not going to be orange stained glass. I love that I can't see the stained glass colors. Does the wax coating wear off after some time? It does not. Yeah, like unwaxed copper will oxidize over time, but dude, the resin blocks look so cool. Ugh, that is awesome. Not what we're going to use here, but we're going to go with some shade of blue. I have a feeling we're going to go with cyan. Reason for cyan is because it has a little bit of that. Yeah. We're going to go with cyan. What is the, what are some recipes for cyan dye? What do I need for it? Cactus green and lapis lazuli, or alternatively I could get a pitcher plant. Oh, this is a sniffer thing. Okay, that's not gonna work. Those are cool though. Maybe I'll do the sniffer thing after this. Do something kind of fun, extracurricular. Okay. Cactus green and lapis lazuli. Sorry, I gotta answer a text. I have a sniffer egg. I might try to find one myself. I've never really done the full archaeology thing. Okay, so I know for a fact I don't really have any cactus green. Or green dye, rather. And yeah, you can only... Yeah. Sorry, getting distracted looking at crafting recipes. So I gotta get some of that, and I feel like... Take some diamonds. Full stack of honeycomb too. It's all coming together. I know that there is a literal desert, but I wonder if Card's block store has any cactuses. I won't need much. I'm gonna get like 8 of them, probably. If that. Because 1 cactus is gonna be 2 cyan dye. No cactuses. Request box. I'll get some cactuses and I'll put them in the request box. There's desert right over here, yeah? It's so laggy. Is it? I mean, it's not. I had like two little block lag things happen. Lowly? Is it in the pyramid? Are you the pyramid? Either way, I'm within spitting distance of the desert. Well, I'm just gonna grab some because I can literally see some cacti. Use an axe? Oh, I'm sorry, was that not fast enough? What do you mean use an axe? That's the same mining speed, bro. Oh, maybe it's a little quicker? No, that's... Pretzels is the same, dog. I think a very long time ago you could right-click an axe with shears, but that didn't really make sense at the time, so it makes sense that they would have taken it out. Maybe it's a hoe. Maybe the hoe is the right block for breaking cacti. It's kind of similar. Seems like a similar consistency to that nether, warped fungus or whatever. Oh yeah, see oh yeah, the house looks way cooler from a distance now with that point on top. It's got a way nicer silhouette than it did before. That's what I'm talking about. You know, this mountain still has a lot of potential. We're gonna build some stuff into this mountain. Yeah, seems like we could up the bee population a little tiny bit to increase the efficiency of the farm, but I'm not feeling pressed about it. Almost there. Almost there. Bingo. Didn't need nearly this much. Honestly, probably only even need a half stack of whatever. I'll make a whole stack, who cares? Alright, Zinky Poo. Let's build, bud. Come here, come on. Come, let's go building with Papa. I have a snowball, don't I? Yes. All right, mister. Come here, mister. Come on. Whoa. He lost interest. Whoa. Ah, crap. What? Snowball is not that helpful. Supposed to have it in your offhand, but then if I right click and I'm not in range, I'm going to throw a dang snowball. All right. I wonder actually if I don't know. Might change up how I've done this a little bit. Okay, so I don't like these being glass. Whoops. Stupid. think I'm liking this. I think I am. Oh yeah, dude. That goes gangbusters. And of course it's going to be very lit on the inside. It's going to be bright. Yeah, awesome. Okay. Now that I'm seeing it, I'm almost wondering if I want to extend those side bits out a little bit, if that might look cool. I think I want it upside down, like that. And then the other thing that could happen, potentially, is instead of using ordinary blocks there, I could use stairs to make it feel even like sharper. Because originally I was going to do a ball, but I think that like that has proven to not actually be the most interesting shape. That's an interesting shape, dude. That looks crazy. And it makes me want to use more cyan glass elsewhere in the build. Maybe we do something like that and we alternate every floor. Yeah, that goes hard, I think. Let's get some different colored glass in here. Why not, dude? Why not? Build better, build. And this will be the inside 4. Unless, would that be better to do? I think I'd rather that be a back and forth pattern, actually. Oh yeah. Cyan, baby. Looks kind of busy. Thank you for sharing your opinion. That's what I'm going for. I like density. Oh, in fact, you know what would be, you know what I might do? Plan on waxing the other copper? Yeah, I'm going to let the other copper weather, and I'm probably going to wax it as well. And I'm also going to replace the stem with copper bulbs. I might let the top stay shiny, actually, because the doors are shiny, the trap doors. Which I think I like them staying shiny. They're all waxed. Yeah, I think let's try this on for size. If I can get within reaching distance of a crafting table. Whoa, oh crap. How do we feel about this? Yeah. That's the ticket. Get some layers in there. See some edges. That's what I like. I honestly wish that there were, whoops. That I could get stairs and slabs in basalt. I kind of regret using basalt a little bit because it doesn't have as many options on the stone cutter, and I feel like it makes it a more boring looking block. Probably should have used tough for the whole thing. But hindsight, you know, it's 2020. Yeah, and then I can't really do any of that here on this front face, but I don't think it needs it as much because you've got more depth coming from the stairs, but here, yeah, that's helpful. And that's gonna look awesome from the inside. The inside is the main thing, right? Because like from far away, you can't really tell as much. And I think, now that I've been looking at this for a while, I think I'm gonna bring most... I do think that I should try to stay in one camp with how oxidized the copper is. Like that's my one critique, is that you hit this point where it's like, you're either more... All right. I think I'm gonna keep all of the copper in this, it's either gonna be this or this. I think that this is too light, And I think in that way it feels kind of busy. You start to lose the plot a little bit in the areas where the copper looks too orange. I might leave it alone here because this is kind of its own separate thing. And I might, do I have any more waxed trapdoors? Not on me right now. Oh, whoops, okay. Well, that's gonna take a while to oxidize. Yeah. And with this, I think I'm okay doing that. Because that kind of implies heat almost, and I like it in that way. Yeah. Just move through the build. That also saves me some wax, because the stuff that's fully oxidized, it's like whatever. I think that's a better approach. And then interior maybe will be a different story, but we'll see. Don't overthink it, you know? Don't overthink it. I don't know, maybe, hold on. Maybe I can allow some on this very tippy top row to be lighter. Like that. Like this idea that it's maybe transitioning. And you know what? I think I want to do it kind of symmetrically. I've done a weird thing there. I guess it's all or nothing with that at that point. I'll just wait for that to kind of reset. To the middle three over here. All right, I'll do that on the other side. All right, and then let's just do the usual, like, I like this idea that, like, it's like less oxidized wherever there's energy flowing. And so that's why I'm thinking closer to the top, it's okay for it to be unoxidized. I'm starting to wonder if I wax these trapdoors prematurely and if I do want them to have a little bit of weathering on them. But right, I can do that at any time. So what I ought to do now, what time is it? What time we got? We got a little more. What I ought to do now is go to the nearest trial chamber and obtain more copper bulbs. And let's get a count for exactly how many copper bulbs I need. But actually, before I do that, I have talked about wanting to put another layer of this. Another layer of something up that I think will just be the tough slabs. Which I believe I have. So we'll do that, and we'll get a count for how many copper bulbs we want. Yeah, I'm gonna replace the copper bulbs with torches so that the trial chamber doesn't become unusable, just full of normal mobs. Let's see, how does that make us feel? I hate that it doesn't have the trapdoors on it. But I feel like if it had the trapdoors, it would be too much. I guess I'll try just the trapdoors. But I think if I do just the trapdoors, it'll be too, it'll look too coppery. I'll just test with these 5. I think just the trapdoors is better than nothing at all, and better than the tough by itself. Yeah. I think 12 will do it. Attaboy. The hell, dude? There we go. Also, this top structure might not be all copper blocks, or might not all be cut copper later. I might do some normal copper blocks to break it up. Break up the texture a little. Oh ho 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 ho! That was a pro gamer move. Somebody please clip that. Get to a safe height because I can't trust that I'm not just gonna fall right through the tappy ghast for, I guess that's lag? I can't tell if it's lag or if you hold shift too hard, you just fall straight through, which, like, why would you ever want that? All right, let's dump all the building stuff we're not using into build buddies. Oops, okay. I'm gonna make more torches just in case. Carrots. Welcome back, Majora. 30 golden carrots good. It's probably gonna be good. That'll probably be fine. Okay, I think I have a clear enough inventory. For what I want to be doing right now. Oh, I don't know how many copper bulbs I need. Oh well, I'll just grab as many as I can. Which means I'm basically just gonna have to do this whole trial chamber again an additional time. Be careful, Majora, jeez. Just listen to the stream on your bike. Don't watch and bike at the same time. Dangerous, mister. But I'm glad you're feeling good. Where is it? I remember it's near this pyramid from last time. Am I looking for the chamber? Yeah. Isn't it over here? I was literally here yesterday. At the pyramid, slightly to the right. Yeah. Oh, yep. Okay. This is the ravine, right, that leads down to it. Nope, it's not the ravine that leads down to it. It's crazy how much the pyramid camouflages the little flag that you built. Oh, it's by the cherry blossoms. Thank you, Lowly. Look at these bees, dude. Look at these bees. All right, I gotta remember it's near the cherry blossoms. Get ready for 6 uninterrupted minutes of me going down these stairs. You gotta just make a straight, we need a straight down dug, like, splash pool. All right. Oh, he's a fast one. Oh my gosh. It's the two next to each other that's a problem, so I just gotta know to, like, not activate the other one by mistake. What the hell, dude? It's so fast, dude. All right, I need a big key for that one. Thank you, and ProCube. What I didn't bring, foolishly, was blocks to just sort of block jump with to get my hands on these bulbs. if you don't put torches, well, I mean, to be honest, I don't know exactly how trial chambers are set up, but I think mobs would spawn because it would be too dark. And so instead of doing like, instead of having a trial chamber that people can come back to and like refight, we'd be stuck with just like a big room full of monsters. Big cave full of monsters all the time. That's no fun. And if creepers can spawn in here, it's like way more difficult. I think there's a reason that there are no creeper spawners in trial chambers. Because they're not fair. God, we're gonna be here a while, and we're gonna have to fight more stuff. I have to fix my pick soon. Oh, hello. I don't actually want to mess with really anything that ought not to be messed with, so. I'd hate for someone to like be fighting stuff and then not know that's there and then fall into a hole and be absolutely destroyed. I will just have to light up around this fountain though. All right, let's go upstairs. This is where we'll have to fight some stuff, I think. Ow. I was going slow, and so I just like felt as if I was shifting, even though I wasn't. Yeah, just drop the little bastards. Works for me. Oh, whoops. Kind of activated just based on when you look at them, which is a nice feature because you won't like be moving around the trial chamber and accidentally create a big mess for yourself if you're careful, but just right under me at all times, aren't they? First speed run a game or slow run a game? Is slow running a thing? Sneaky guy. I tried to speedrun Minecraft at one point. Not to like get a record or anything, but I just kind of learned how. Learned the techniques for the latest version at the time. I'm sure it's changed a little bit, but the basic strategy for getting to the end as quickly as possible. Snuck up behind me, dude. Ba 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 ba, keep it on check. She was all nevertheless. On Equus now, baby, I'm a wreck. Crash at my place, baby, you're a wreck. Don't know where these baby zombos are, but glad they're not right here. Right, that needs a big key, right? Yeah. No dice. You can't sleep and let the game, but like, so a slow, how is that judged though? You have to actively be playing the game the whole time? And yeah, I guess you can't take a, is it that you can't take a break? Okay. What happens if I go up? What's up here? Oh, there. That's where you little scoundrels were, you little scamps. Oh, look. Ooh. Nice. Got a music disc. That is one thing I'm kind of grateful that they overhauled, is the music disc system. Or like the amount, like, I'm glad that they've added more and that they're easier to obtain than music discs have been in the past. Oh, and the banner pattern. Perfect. I think I missed these rooms last time. There's another one across the way, right? No, it's just the one? Okay, well, nice. I like that room. I'm not going to get all these yet because I just want to see if there are some some lower hanging fruits that will be easier. What do I think is not art but there to make money? Well, I mean, a lot of art is there. A lot of art exists to make money. And it's up to each individual person to sort of decide how much they feel that impacts the validity of the art, right? I feel like the fine art community, a lot of, right, there's the two schools of thought in the fine art community. And one is that you basically need a very refined mental palette to understand and appreciate and enjoy, you know, art that may look to a layman to be very simple. And then the other end of the spectrum is, wow, you've really just done that for money. And I think that what a lot of people don't talk about, or what doesn't immediately occur to them, a lot of the reality of it is that a lot of fine art that like looks very simple, and makes you wonder, like, who would ever buy that? Like, that sold for how many hundreds of thousands, or like $1 million or whatever? Some of that has to do with the artist's name. But even if it does have something to do with the artist's name, a lot of the times that's money laundering. That's a really wealthy person trying to, somewhat covertly move their assets around. That's what a lot, like, right? Because for, like, it's taxes, and there are a lot of legal loopholes that come with buying something at that value, or having something appraised to be at that value, and then using that painting or that piece of art or whatever it is as an asset that can then be moved around, that can be transported overseas, that can be sold to another rich person. It's almost this like shadow economy that I think starts to happen. And there is a lot of art, and I wouldn't be shocked if there were a few artists that just kind of like specialize in creating that, who there is a facade built around them that has been curated by themselves and their clients and sort of all these people, that their art is very valuable. And so if somebody needs to move a couple $1 million around, it makes a lot more sense to, instead of doing like a wire transfer, or if it's international, right? Like all of the taxes and fees and like legal complexities that might come with moving that literal money overseas and converting it to another form of currency, you can instead just buy the painting in one country and then move it to the other and then sell it to somebody else. And that's how that transaction gets done. I really think that that's a huge part of it. And when people are like, whoa, I can't believe that painting sold that much, it's like you're kind of falling for the smokescreen a little bit. I don't think that's the case every time. I also, like, as an art student, think that there's a lot of reality to having a sort of refined palette, more in the way that you're able to think about art and think about the process of art and like what things mean. I do think that I struggle with art that is both easy to make and expensive, and that's the stuff that I usually accuse of, being part of a money laundering racket. And if it isn't, right, then it's easy to make and also very expensive, because it has someone's name is attached to it that makes it inordinately valuable for what it is. And sometimes that's the case, especially with like aging artists that are getting older, that some passion has been lost potentially, right? And they know what works, they know what people like to see from them, and so they make it, and they sort of turn themselves and anyone who works under them into a sort of assembly line that puts out a simple permutation of like something that they've made in the past. So I think, it's a complex animal, and I can't really point to like Kuntz, I think, is one that a lot of people point to that's like, he's just kind of a shyster. Like he makes these like metallic balloon dog sculptures, and I don't know all the details of it. I don't know all the ins and outs, but that's just one that comes to mind. Yeah, and that's something that's sort of like, I don't know. It's just so many different things can start to happen, right? I think Kuntz is someone who had these really novel sculptures that rich people with kind of bad taste earnestly enjoyed, and those aren't easy to make. They're not like the simplest thing in the world to produce. And they are kind of, I don't know, they're worthwhile objects. But at the same time, they sort of lack a point of view. They lack the sort of academic, like refined palette component. It's almost, because that's also something that can start to happen. I feel like that's what Supreme is and a lot of designer brands, is it becomes less about, it's actually something that's only cool to a layman. Right? It's something that it is cool to like a more basic aesthetic perspective. Oh, shiny balloon animal. That looks great. I'd love to have that in my living room on my mantle. Right? It's very milquetoast in a way. And Supreme stuff is the same, right? It's like super milquetoast. It's very basic. It's very simple. A lot of illustrators are like that. I feel like a lot of Causes stuff, KAWS, is kind of like that, where it's cool, and there are people who would want that, and it's not really bad art. It's not a bad illustration. It's like a neat thing. But at the same time, it's kind of gotten inflated by this perception, by this cultural perception of like, it's a brand, it's an identity, it's really important. It means something, and so it's worth a lot, even though it's there are other artists that do illustrations that are just as good and just as unique and take the same amount of effort or more, and they're not worth that much. It's just a whole can of worms, and I think it's interesting because it really kind of shines the light on the whole principle of an economy, the whole principle of what an economy is. And really this idea that when you get right down to it, there is no real, when you run an economy on a currency that is not backed by anything real, by anything finite, all perceptions of value are in some way, shape, or form based on perception. And I think it's interesting that people are always like, they look at fine art and they're like, well, I don't get why that's worth that much. But it's weird, right? Because our stock market also works on kind of a similar premise. There's a mathematical component to the stock market, and obviously, like, what a company is worth. There's you can sort of look at like assets and liquidations and understand, sort of back the company with like their material possessions in that way, assuming those material possessions are like, right, objective objects and not subjective objects like art. But then even if that's the case, there's also, right, the valuation of a company. So much of what a company is based on what like financial experts and public perception thinks that company is worth. Cracker Barrel stock just did a crazy roller coaster loop-de-loop because they did that rebrand thing and everyone hated it. And then they went back and their stock, jetted back up. And so like when you have, when everything is just rooted in perception like that, in taste, it's not just art. Like it's people, like art gets most of its attention thrown at it, but it's like, that's kind of how the whole economy works. And it's interesting that it's such a common observation that like, oh, that doesn't seem like that should be worth that much. That's not that big a deal. But really, it's like we're swimming in it. We're swimming in so many scenarios that work on exactly that premise. I don't know. It's at the end of the day, it's a whole thing. But I think it's a really good argument, ultimately, for why currency should be backed by something. Should be backed by a finite material. Because you can't, it's like, if it's gold, it's like, oh shit, we found more gold. Great, the economy's doing well. And if it's not gold, it's like, okay, well, I guess whoever has the most gold that we already found is in really good shape. But yeah, right now the economy is like, ultimately, if you boil it down and you distill everything, it really just has everything to do with what people think is valuable, what people think means something. It's exactly the same as art. And it's why AI is blowing up right now. Not because there's really, right? AI is as intangible as you can get. Software is as intangible as you can get. But everyone is so certain that AI has basically infinite economic potential. So that's why it's worth so much. And ultimately, art is, the way it should be done, right, is like art is worth as much as you're willing to pay for it based on what it makes you feel. And whatever value it contributes to your life to know whether or not it's a print or an original. Like really, really think about whether or not you care whether something is a print or an original. Oh, I love that painting. Cool. Like, is a reproduction of it fine then? Because ultimately, what do you want? You want to see it on your wall as you're going about your life. Like, objectively, knowing that it's an original shouldn't alter that sensory experience of waking up in the morning and seeing the painting in your house. So the society might tell you, oh, it's better to have the original, but like that's a you question. That's a personal preference question. It's also just a good life skill if anyone tries to sell you anything, right? A lot of sales is dependent on convincing someone of some objective reality about something's value. But most of the time, that reality is very subjective. And that's what the salesman wants, is they want you to feel like it's, right, as real as gravity. Probably didn't answer your exact question, but that's, when you get right down to it, that's how I feel about all that. So, to give you like an answer more in the vein of what I imagine you were looking for, like I think those AI generated brain rot characters are like definitely exist to make money, and and whoever is responsible for creating them is absolutely stoked that they were able to produce some, low tier, like Mid-Journey ass AI images and make a killing off of it and create like a fad that's, I'm sure, going to make them millions of dollars. And just remember that AI is not the evil part of that operation. AI is not what's wrong with those brain rot characters. What's wrong with those brain rot characters is that somebody intentionally created something hoping that it would gain like a really, really stupidly inflated value that was targeted at kids, right? That became enough of a cultural fad to gain a ton of inflated value. And, you know, it's a smash and grab scheme. And those have been happening long before AI ever existed. You know? Like, it's just, AI is just the latest way to either make something very cheap and shitty or make something cool and interesting and unique. And it's not the tool's fault, it's the person's. Guessing there's still one of these, oh yeah, there you are. I think we're doing pretty good on these bulbs. We almost have 2 stacks, which I feel like will be enough, but maybe I'm mistaken. Yo, eggs, wait, hold on. That's actually pretty goated. Eggs, dude. Egg City in here. They just be putting chicken farms in trial chambers. Now I've like totally lost track of where I am. Have I gone up here? Yes, I have. I don't remember doing it, but clearly I did. I think I got everything. Nope. Not this room. Not this room at all. Well, I mean, you know, like, it's funny that you say that, Majora, because I chatted with my mom recently, and, you know, I'm in my mid-20s now, and I remember very clearly being your age and being sort of every age in between now and then. And it's interesting because you're at this period in your life where you are kind of visually an adult and mentally most of the way there. But you go and you start to do stuff. Like two realities start to settle in as you grow up. And one is that, wow, these adults like don't actually know. It's not that they don't know anything that you don't. They do. Like, adults know stuff that you don't. And they have knowledge that's helpful to you. But also, like, the way that it feels, the thought process, your capacity to understand things or not understand things, or think you know something and not know it, or, like, make some kind of mistake, is not really dramatically changed. and isn't among your peers, I'll say, right? Because that's ultimately, right, is like you become an adult and you observe your peers, and it doesn't feel all that different from observing your peers when you were 16, right? Like it reaches a point where you're all on a more level playing field. But also, in reaching that point, in going to college and like starting your first real job that isn't, just like a minimum wage service position or whatever, something that happened to me was yeah, like feeling dumb. Feeling like I didn't know stuff that I ought to know a lot of the time. And I wish that someone had said to me, because that's why I felt dumb, right? That was exactly the bottom line, is like, I didn't know stuff that I felt like I ought to just known. Intuitively somehow. And no one ever really stopped and said to me like, hey, when I say, because right, people are teaching you stuff, and when they're teaching you stuff, they'll be like, don't do it like that. Or actually it's more like this, or whatever. Like when someone is correcting you, when they're trying to teach you something, what I would hear a lot of the time, and maybe this is just me, maybe this is just a personality failure of mine, right? But what I would hear a lot of the time was, you should know this. You shouldn't have gotten that wrong. Or it would be great if you had already done it this way. And that was hard for me, I think. Was like, yeah, I don't know, because I had a good work ethic, and I thought I was a smart person compared to my peers, I think. And I held everything I did to a very high standard. So when there was someone that was trying to mentor me, and they would tell me something, I would take the advice, but I would feel dumb. And I think that it was hard. It was hard to overcome that feeling dumb, and then get to the point where I was implementing the advice straight away. And I just wish that more people had said to me, or maybe not putting the responsibility on the other person. I wish that I had come to realize quicker that like, when they were correcting me and when they were teaching me, there was no component of like, I expect you to know this. You should already know this, right? It's just as simple as that. It's just as simple as, I'm here, do it this way. That's all. That's all that goes into it. And so me feeling dumb, right, that has nothing to do with them and what they're saying. That has more to do with me. That's a paradigm that I'm creating in my own mind. That is probably not true. So I think that's like, yeah, I don't know, anytime, right? Like I know that stuff because I literally went to art college for 3.5 years. And that's where I learned a lot of it. And like, that's where I mulled all this over in my head. And like, even though we're able to have a conversation with each other, the fact that I have that experience and you don't, that doesn't mean that you're dumb, and that's not like a deficiency that you have somewhere, on a topic that you should know something about. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it's funny because I had this conversation with someone recently of like that particular issue of feeling dumb. Anyways, I think it's time to wrap up stream. Big time it is. Went a little long. Thanks for watching. And thanks for asking questions, Majora. And I'm glad that you're one of the smartest guys that you know. That's great. Catch you next time.